I feel like I've featured and casted games of pretty much all of the top level players in StarCraft 2 over the last couple of weeks. But one player that I've not featured nearly as much as he certainly deserves is the current world champion of StarCraft 2. Spawning here in the bottom left hand corner of Zen, a bit of a special map actually. I'll show you around in just a second. We're looking inside of the main base of none other than Dark. And his opponent already sending out 2 SCVs towards what seems to be the other side of the map, playing with the blue Terran SCVs. Likewise, also from South Korea, we have none other than TY. Alrighty, so TY decides to open up with what seems to be like a double barracks proxy here, really early on into this game on Zen. Now, I don't speak any Korean. I recognize the question mark. I don't know, maybe someone can translate down below in the comment section. Regardless, this map is a little bit weird. Now, for those of you that don't play a lot of StarCraft, just look at this for a little bit. Something is weird about this natural. Okay, so first off, there's a big ramp, or rather a big choke point right over here that leads into the natural. And then secondly, there's a second entrance that goes into the natural expansion as well. And this is the reason why I personally have not been enjoying playing this map very much myself. Now, this is actually the very first game that I'm casting on this map. I'm hoping for some fireworks, because this kind of feels like the Redshift LE of this season, okay? It's a little bit of a weird one. It's like the map number 7 that we will see every once in a while in tournaments. Pro gamers, of course, will practice on this map, just because in case you do get to game number 7 in the grand finals, and if you've never played the map before, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But this little choke point over here is really annoying, especially when you get cheesed. So Dark did decide to go for a spawning pool first. Normally, that's pretty much like the blind counter to a double Rex proxy, because this is not that big of a commitment here from TY. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do right now? I'm really curious to see it, because I have no idea. I've played against this kind of stuff myself as well, and it's infuriating. Alright, so Dark, he does see exactly what's going on. He notices the Marines are already here. He's got link speed underway. He's going for a spine crawler right now. But I've got a feeling that that hatchery is in a world of trouble, right? This kind of feels like a map to me where if you get cheesed, you can't actually go for an expansion on the low ground anytime soon. I'm pretty sure that hatchery is dead, right? Is he gonna cancel it? He could decide, I guess, to like pull a lot of drones. But I mean, worst case scenario, right? With a little bit of micro right now. And there is also a wall here on the other side of the map. But with like a little bit of micro, TY could just pop these Marines from one bunker into the other and then into the safety behind the bunkers, and the Zerglings can't reach. Okay, there's gonna be a Baneling nest. Oh, you know what? I think what Dark is trying to do here, he's trying to lose the natural here on purpose, forcing TY to make a massive commitment and then go for a Baneling Bust in the meantime on the other side of the map. Okay, so there's a factory here. A reactor obviously cannot be built on the barracks. Well, it can be, but not going to be able to be switched over with that factory very easily. TY is going to be able to get some units up for defense at home, but what exactly is he going to do against the follow-up Baneling nest? I actually kind of like this. I kind of like this here for the Zerg. So at this point, though, TY must realize that not a lot of units were wasted there for Zerg. Didn't throw anything at this. So the bunkers are going to salvage, only a couple of minerals lost. Now, Jimmy the Marine. Ooh, Jimmy, you absolute legend. He does scout out all of the Banelings that are waiting here, close to the main base of the Terran. Oh, no, he could have certainly finished that one off, but he didn't. It takes 5 Banelings to kill a supply depot. How much does it take to kill literally everything? Yeah, if you run them into the center, sure, the 2 depots will take the splash damage and disappear. It's a disaster right here for Dark in the early game. Brilliant display of skill here from TY. That one Marine scout over here was huge, actually. I feel like if you, if you wouldn't have seen that one Marine there, or if you wouldn't have seen those Banelings there, rather with the one Marine, this game would have been over right here. The Baneling nest would have just, you know, allowed him to blow up the wall, and that would be game. That would be game. So brilliant move there by TY. Walking Jiminy right there, straight through the center of the map. Okay, so let me show you around. Because while I don't really like the layout of the natural very much to play on myself on this map, the map itself is absolutely beautiful. So it's called Zen LE. Pretty sure you won't be facing it too much on the ladder either. So there's some really nice beauty marks. Aren't there like, yeah, there's like a pool with koi carp. I know there's a battle going on between a Terran and a Zerg, but there's like little pools and stuff. I'm pretty sure there's like carps in there. There's another one over here. Well, I guess you can kind of see the fish. A little bit. Anyways. I won't bother you all too much. There's also this feature in the center. Actually, hold that thought. Looks like the Hellions. Ooh. Dark was threatening this around there. Decides to back off, though. Pretty sure Raynor would have committed there, right? Like, Raynor has been nuts with those Zergling run-bys against units that technically counter him. Now, this is some good micro here, actually, from TY. These Zerglings are mostly just roasted. The Marines do fall, though. Ooh, you know what? No. Luckily for TY, he did grease up all of his Hellions in Vaseline before leaving the factory, so that's great. One factory, or rather one barracks, is also now flying inside of the main base here from Dark. So, there's another feature over here. There's two of them, actually, on the map. If you follow the path from the natural to the other natural, there's these weird mineral blockers over here, too. So, obviously, you can mine these out with one worker, right? So, it takes one worker, one trip to kill that. But you can basically go around it pretty easily with small units for the time being, but larger units will require you to bring a few SCVs or a few drones. Hellions inside of this medevac. There are already Zerglings inside of the main base, but they are actually sleeping on the job. He is going to respond right now. Takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a line of workers. A couple of them going down so far. I don't think this is going to deal too much damage. At the same time, though, Hellions now also moving towards the natural. TY is playing some excellent StarCraft here. Does manage to get another worker kill there. And this is like the strength of these top-level Terran players. They lose very minimal amounts of units. Like, yeah, a couple of units have gone down so far, but not only did he get the kill on the hatchery there, he's been trading more cost-efficiently just with that micro. And he's certainly not done yet, right? Like, he's always looking. Always on the lookout to deal a bunch of damage. Now, what this is also forcing out of Dark right now is units, which may sound very basic, but it means he's not making drones at this point. So TY is actually pretty much even right here when it comes to the worker count, but he's got those juicy yellow mining machines, those mules, that are very, very helpful. Liberator right now inside of the main base as well, stressing the multitasking of the Zerg as much as possible. There's a Battlecruiser as a follow-up coming up too. Liberator in the main base is going to be able to get a couple of shots off. Looks like the Hellions mostly got surrounded there, but that is a lot of workers going down here in the grand scheme of things. Liberator also unsieged, sieging up once again on top of that Queen Hellion right now, though. Ooh, trying to shoot from the high ground towards the low ground, which does work. Looks like the Liberator did get picked off there eventually. 11 workers here in total, and, well, the pressure will pile on very shortly once that starport is done producing its Battlecruiser. So, it is going to be a mech transition. I mean, at this point, I don't think anyone is surprised by that. If you've been watching the games over the last few weeks, it seems like pretty much everyone right now is going for Battlecruiser into mech. Really, really cool. I'm a big fan of the style in general. Curious to see how Dark approaches it. So we've seen a lot of different ways for Zerg players to deal with it. And let's be honest here for a second. I have only seen, I think, like, one victory of Zerg against Terran over the last few weeks. It's been a little bit rough, especially the change to the Thor. Seems to have been massively impactful for Zerg players, and obviously also the reduction of strength of the... well, there it is, by the way. The reduction of the strength of the Infestor, and then also the Brute Lord seems to have a massive influence on this matchup in particular, making the Thor very, very powerful. Obviously, we also saw Thors being very effective already earlier this week. Dude, the aggression is insane. But we saw them being very effective as well. Oh, dude, there's so much damage. Nicely done there by TY. Ah, this is sick. But we saw them being very good against Locust as well, against Swarm Host that is. So they kind of like counter most of what seems to be the Zerg late game at this point. Other than maybe that Lurker Viper style. So we'll see what the plan is going to be for Dark here. But I mean, if he even gets to that point in the game, when you lose this many workers, he's lost 36 at this point. That's crazy. Battlecruiser still alive as well. Hellions were picked off for the most part, but I mean, you will gladly trade Hellions for drones at this stage in the game, as long as you can defend at home. You don't really need the Hellions. They're not really a unit that you climb with later on. I mean, you cannot produce them until you can replace them with more gas-heavy units. So I think that this is a trade that TY will take every single time he gets it. And this is really, really forcing Dark right now to sit back. Now, Dark, though, he has been overproducing workers. And I say that in a good sense. Okay, well, you're not going to get in there. I say that in a good way. Yeah, he's lost 36 workers. But this is going to trigger a couple of Terran players out there. TY is still actually behind when it comes to the worker count. He's basically just been holding down the drone button non-stop. So what's really important to look at right here is especially the amount of resources lost for both players. So it's very clear that Zerk has lost about 1,000 more minerals, but that is certainly not something that TY can win the game with, okay? It's not going to be over right here, right now. It does open up the opportunity, though, for him to go for like a timing attack. So one thing he could do is push right when the 1-1 upgrades are done with an all-out assault, and that could certainly be game-changing. Keep in mind, right, this ramp over here, too, it's still not mined away by Zerk. I don't know if he needs to, but the thing is, if, like, siege tanks go, like, right over... Like, how are you gonna fight that, right? Like, siege tanks can be in really, really scary positions. Creep has also been contained really nicely here for TY. So, TY... it's hard to quantify that and to really say, like, hey, it's supposed to be this far out, right? But there certainly is a lack of creep spread at this point in the game. And that's going to help out with any kind of potential timing follow-ups here as well. Okay, so the follow-up, by the way, from Dark, and I think this makes a lot of sense. It's a low eco scenario for him. He's going to go for Nyduses and then a bunch of swarm hosts. Nyduses? Nydai? I'm not entirely sure. Nah, it doesn't end with US, right? So I'm pretty sure if it ends with US... Actually, it does. Wait, what is the correct plural of Nydus? Is it Nydai? I've never thought about this. I mean, we used to say Colossus back in like the early days of StarCraft 2. We used to say Nexuses as well. Is it actually Nydai for the plural of Nydus? Someone let me know. I need like Terran experts. I need Zerk experts. I need Latin experts. I need math majors. I need all of that. Okay, here we go. Big locust wave. Moving right here on the right-hand side. Great pull there by TY, by the way. Didn't lose a single worker, did he? Now he's gonna lose a couple of tanks, it looks like. Actually, only one. That is very reasonable. Very nicely done there by the Terran player. I guess the reason why it never comes up, I'm still on this Nydus thing, is that we usually say Nydus worms. Right? But I guess we've been seeing so many Nydus worms that at some point I feel like I've said the worms plural a little bit too often, so we just start calling them Nyduses. But interesting. I've never thought about this. The Corruptor Bull is now available too. So it's... How many Corruptors? That is 9 Corruptors going up against 4 Battlecruisers with Yamato guns. The Yamato cannons can just shut it down very easily. Now this is going to slow down Terran quite a bit. And you know what? Dark now ahead when it comes to the supply count. And obviously a lot of that is in roaches. And then also the swarm hosts in particular. Swarm hosts though do need to be used constantly. So there we go once again. Nydus Whack-A-Mole is going to be critical here for TY. He did kill the Nydus worm over here on the right-hand side of the map, but he did not see this one until the locusts are already flying. Command center does indeed get killed. That's nicely done. Ooh, and this could actually do a lot of damage. There you go, you blink once. And, well, 9 SCVs go down. Now, the thing is, though, losing 9 SCVs with that first locust wave is way more painful than losing them right now. Even though it's only like a minute or so later into the game, this is the moment where Terran has a lot more mules to dispose of as well. They can just drop them down. Usually this is the moment in a game where you can start saving up a little bit of energy when you're Terran. Because when the mech production really gets underway, you don't need that many minerals in general. Usually this is the moment as well in the game where we can see additional command centers being added on just for that energy. And you know what? This is a scary Battlecruiser fleet. We usually don't see this many Battlecruisers, right? This is already 5 of them right now. You can still be producing more. Really cool. Ooh, Yamato cannons. He can zap away. Great micro there. Nydus Worm once again going down here on the right-hand side of the map. TY on top of that as well. That one should not be able to go up here. Battlecruiser is still working right now on one of those hatcheries, and well, oh. okay, he's not gonna risk it. Well, we did see some corrosive biles there zoning away against those BCs too. They managed to all get out, and they will now be able to get their hulls repaired, I suppose. I like this Battlecruiser style a lot. Battlecruisers are excellent. So very few siege tanks here, actually. How many tanks are there? Yeah, he's basically stopped producing siege tanks ever since... Hatchery, by the way, did fall, but ever since he realized, wait a second, there's going to be a lot of swarm hosts. I'm just going to go for, I guess, this very battle mech-focused army that's based around the Hellion and then also the Cyclone with Battlecruisers. Very cool. We actually have additional starports coming up. 2 more starports. Huh. You know what would be cool? And I'm the only one that probably thinks this way, okay? I would love to see, like, speed banshees at this point in the game. That'd be nuts. Big SCV kill count over here, by the way. 11 workers going down as well as a siege tank. That's nice. Good work there, actually, by Dark. Tipping or chipping away right now at his opponent's worker count. He's sitting at 69 drones himself. Nice. And there is actually going to be, yeah, a bit of an opening right now with that Roach Warren apparently getting killed off. Well, this time around, though, the creep spread is far out enough for these Zerg units to easily make their way back in, but Dark is going to plug that hole over here with apparently a group of spine crawlers just in case. These Swarmos, by the way, have been extremely valuable, right? So that 1,000 mineral advantage that we saw for Zerg earlier is now getting smaller and smaller, although he has been losing a elite amount of gas. We'll see. See, the thing is, I've seen this kind of game before, right? Over the last few weeks, I've seen a bunch of games that are very similar to this, although obviously they opened up a little bit differently. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a transition here towards Thor's, but it's actually not happening. Okay, so very cool. So it is indeed going to be 3 starports, all with tech labs on them, 2 Battlecruisers being produced here at once, but then also a Raven. Ravens are sick, actually. Ravens obviously very popular, especially in PvT, and then also in TvT. We don't really see them all too much in Terran versus Zerg, but they can certainly be very helpful, especially when it comes to the anti-armor missile. Normally one of the reasons why Corruptors can stay alive for a very long time is because of the amount of armor that they've got. Oh, well, good target firing there. Never mind, Lowko, stop talking about it. We saw the Raven getting picked off right away. Oh god, great micro there as well with those SCVs underneath. Retargeting there, but the command center fell. One of the Battlecruisers fell as well, at the cost, though, of a lot of those Corruptors. So how many Corruptors have gone down at this point? It's 14. Like, Corruptors, for all intents and purposes, are, like, pretty much as expensive as, like, a siege tank. I mean, not quite, but it's pretty close. And, yeah, it's very expensive to just use them and lose them willy-nilly, right? Like, you can use those Yamato cannons very nicely. They deal so much damage every single time. A couple of them land. Now, this is good. A couple of Zerglings don't actually make their way towards the mineral line. Not paying attention here is TY. I mean, he's paying attention to about a million other things as well. Really focusing his attention here primarily on these Battlecruisers. Need to get out of there, buddy. Won't be able to get out of there. Probably had its tactical jump on cooldown. Once again, though, Yamato cons being utilized, and they get out of there. Okay. 10 workers going down there. Dark once again ahead when it comes to the supply count, as well as that worker need. Now, what is the transition going to be? Because normally, right, so in the previous patch, we would see Infestors here for quite a little while already. Infestors are excellent when it comes to, obviously, just zoning away against pretty much everything that Terran has. We did also see a lot of, like, fungal growth on the Battlecruisers. Fungal growth essentially prevents them from using their tactical jump. So I would love to see like 1 or 2 being added on here, just so these Corruptors can actually clean all of this up. Because right now, it kind of feels like TY is just going to keep roaming the map, and he gets more and more value out of these BCs. They've been around for a long time. One of them has 37 kills. It's pretty crazy. They gain more value the longer that the game goes on until you get rid of them. So it's actually going to be a few Vipers right now added into the mix. Okay. So what I was going to say, Neuroparasite in the past would also be very useful against Terran and Mech. I've seen a couple of people suggest that in the comment section. I do think that there is some room for Neuroparasite to be effective against Terran Mech. The thing is, they've also reduced the strength of Neuroparasite by 1 range. So it used to be 9 range, right now it's 8 with the new patch. So the Infestor really got hit with like 7 different nerfs all at once. And it kind of leaves a sour taste in people's mouth, I guess. It's still a good unit, though, so I would love to see it being used a little bit more. Now, this is great. A lot of aggression everywhere. Hellions and Cyclones threatening here in the center. Battlecruisers, though, now target firing down that base. They have a lot of damage output, and once again... Oh, this is good as well, though! So, apparently, when they're in the middle of the tactical jump, they can be abducted. Didn't matter all too much there in the grand scheme of things. But it is gonna now... at the very least, Dark to have a little bit more time and a little bit more safety. Okay, so he is making that transition towards Hydra, Viper, Lurker. This is the one style that we've seen both Serral as well as Raynor play. He's taken a very different approach to getting here. He does now have the Lurker Speed Burrow upgrade already. He does also still have 1 upgrade coming up. That's the Lurker Ranged upgrade, the Seismic Spines. It's a new upgrade that recently was added as well. I think this is mostly just here to buy a little bit of time. Because at some point you do want to get rid of these Swarmos as well. He doesn't actually have that much money though. I'm a little bit concerned here. There's really not that much money. There's also really not that much anti-air. It's now 11 Battlecruisers. Dude, who called in the fleet? 11 Battlecruisers versus 12 Corruptors? That's 11 Yamato cannons. Yeah, there's a few Hydras, but Hydras just absolutely melt. I guess Parasitic Bomb can be useful as well, but that's not nearly enough damage here. TY, you can actually end the game right here, right now, if you land those Yamato cannons, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Just simply waving his mouse with that rapid fire over all of those Corruptors. There's no anti-air. Oh my god, the game is over. Just like that. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah. I didn't expect him to go that heavy into the Battlecruisers. Every single TVZ that I've seen where it gets to this stage in the game, Terran players at some point switch over to the Thors instead. The Thors. Absolutely laying down the thunder, but apparently Battlecruisers, even though they did technically get nerfed a little bit, they certainly are very, very powerful. What an awesome game. I just compared this kind of game, right? Even though I know some Zerg players will look at this and, you know, you may have been seeing the other videos, or you may have been watching rather the other videos that I've uploaded over the last few weeks, and you may look at this and think, huh, another Terran win, whoop-de-doo. Compare this kind of game to the StarCraft that we had, even like 2 years ago. The level of play in StarCraft 2 right now is getting higher and higher. The level of skill is still climbing, which is pretty ridiculous. Every year I think we've peaked, but the games just keep getting better and better. And well, maybe this kind of unit composition right now is a little bit too hard to counter. I think only time will tell. If obviously the win rates get a little out of hand. I mean, Blizzard is generally speaking not known to be responding very quickly, right? So I'm sure we will see adjustments at some point in the future. For the time being, man, I gotta be honest with you, I'm a big fan of this Terran mech force that has now become very popular. It's a ton of fun to watch. Really, really strong play and performance right there by TY. And even though Dark tried to make the best of it, he was playing catch up for pretty much the entire 20 minutes that this game lasted. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I will see you once again in the next one.